Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, a few days ago, I noticed that a lot of people were posting a video of this white doctor being arrested at Orlando International Airport. And this created some controversy. This video has gone viral. So, a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people have posted it. And I've read a few articles about this situation. I just want to share my thoughts because this raises a whole bunch of different issues about race relations in this country because this guy makes some comments that are controversial. And I just want to talk about those comments. So this guy goes to the airport. When he gets there, he's told that he could be placed on a standby flight. He gets upset about this because apparently he had a flight that was scheduled and he wanted to get on that flight. So he begins to raise hell and cause trouble and get loud and obnoxious and belligerent. So the airport staff, they call the police to the scene. The police arrive. It's a few police officers. They confront this guy. At one point, this guy, continues to be loud, continues to be disorderly, and he raises his hands in the air, telling the police to either arrest him or catch a flight. And so they proceed to try to arrest this guy. So instead of just complying with the officers, allowing them to cuff him and just, going away with the police, this guy creates a scene. He continues to yell. He continues to be disorderly. This guy refuses to allow the police to cuff him. This guy falls to the ground and he puts his hands up to his chest so that they can't put his hands in handcuffs. And he's acting like a complete fool. And while this is going on, he's screaming like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this to me." Then he says, "They're treating me like a effing black person." So a lot of people have been talking about this, and I want to just address this. First of all, the idea that he's all astonished that the police are arresting him is preposterous because this guy, first of all, admits that he wanted to make some kind of point by getting arrested. That's his first thing. So this man intended to get arrested. He was acting in such a way that the police had no alternative but to arrest him. So for him to act like he's all surprised and shocked that he's being arrested is completely ridiculous. I mean, here you have a guy who is being loud, who's being disorderly, and according to the police, they say that this guy basically was foaming at the mouth. This guy was unstable, he was erratic, and it would not make sense for them to allow this man onto anybody's airplane under those circumstances. So the police, they did the right thing by arresting him. This guy claims that he did nothing wrong. He talked about how if they can do this to some white doctor who did nothing wrong, then I can understand why black people don't trust the police. I mean, first of all, the whole trust issue between the black community and the police is a valid issue, but this guy is doing nothing but race hustling. This guy is pimping race to justify or to make it seem like he's some kind of martyr, like he did this to make some great point about race relations, when at the end of the day, despite his claims, I think that this just boils down to a guy that was out of control. And now he's trying to rationalize what happened. And he's trying to make himself look like a victim. He's trying to make himself look like he's doing some great thing for black people, which is suspect to begin with. I mean, this guy admits that he's a conservative. This guy admits that he's a Trump supporter. So there's no way in hell you can tell me that this guy was thinking about making some statement about race relations or some statement about corporate America and how to deal with the police and all that kind of stuff. That wasn't his intention. This guy claims that he was trying to make a point about how, the police should de-escalate a situation. Well, the fact of the matter is this is the person who escalated the situation by getting all belligerent. He could have simply allowed the police to cuff him. But instead, he tried to resist. Instead, he made a complete fool of himself and all that. Now, I want to talk about this comment that he made about, you're treating me like a effing black person. First of all, basically he's saying that I'm a white doctor. I'm a white person. I'm a privileged white guy. So you shouldn't even be trying to arrest me. You should reserve that kind of behavior for black people. That's the implicit message that I got from him, especially given the fact that this is a conservative, given the fact that this is a Trump supporter, and we know about Trump's history of racism, both present and past. We know about this very well. I mean, we all know about this controversy involving him allegedly using the N-word during a recording of The Apprentice. So I don't think that this doctor is some great social justice advocate or anything like that. This is a self-serving guy who just invented this story to justify what he was doing. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is this, man. Those police did not treat this guy like he was a black person. They handled this guy with kid gloves. They did everything to accommodate him. They were restrained in their reaction. They didn't punch him. They didn't kick him. They didn't hit him with any kind of baton. They didn't even tase him. The most that they did was pepper spray this fool, and he was out of control, and he should have been pepper sprayed. If this was a black person, the police would have kicked that black person. They would have punched that black person. And we've seen this time and time again where black people are doing far less than that, and they have been attacked. Even when black police are involved. We saw what happened in Baltimore where this police officer started to punch this black guy crazy, started punching him repeatedly to the point where this brother's jaw was fractured and his ribs were fractured. That's how police deal with black people. When you have a situation with a Tamir Rice where the police arrive on the scene and within a couple of seconds they shoot and kill that 12-year-old brother. That's how the police react to black people. When you see a Walter Scott getting gunned down, shot in his back multiple times, that's how the police react to black people. When you look at the situation involving Sam DuBose, a man who pulled off in his car and a police officer proceeds to shoot this brother in the head and shoot him multiple times. That's how police react to black people. When you look at a Philando Castile, a man who disclosed to the police that he had a gun in his glove compartment, a man who was complying with the police officer's instructions, gets shot in the chest while this is captured on Facebook Live. That's how police deal with black people. What they did to this guy is another example of white privilege. They didn't harm this guy. They didn't treat him like a black person. So what the hell is he talking about? They were restrained in their reaction. They didn't throw a single punch, a single kick. They didn't even tase this man. And they definitely didn't shoot him. Instead, they took their time with this fool. They treated him with respect, even though he was acting like a complete asshole and an idiot. They treated him with respect. And the fact that this guy is out on bond or whatever, doing interviews and stuff like that, a lot of black people don't have that luxury. They don't have the money to get bail out. They would have been facing much more harsher charges than this guy is facing. And if the case played out in trial, they would face a harsher sentence than this guy possibly faces. This epitomizes white privilege. And the fact that this guy, even if you assume that his story about doing this for the purpose of making a point is true, that again is another reminder of white privilege. I mean, no black person would volunteer to get arrested just for the sake of getting arrested. Squander a ticket that they spent money on to catch a flight. That epitomizes white privilege, man. That you would have this guy act like this. And, my response to this guy trying to pretend like he was doing nothing wrong is get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. I mean, you're acting belligerent. You're creating a scene. It would be negligent for that airline to allow you onto their airplane under those circumstances. So, yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say about this. Tell me what y'all think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.